Hey guys, and welcome to episode 120 of Meeple to Meeple. It is springtime strategies for your Easter escapades. I'm PJ, and with me today, special guest co-host, I've got Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be here. I love seeing your face. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And yeah, this is exciting because you suggested, hey, let's talk about Easter games. And so we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, but we're going to talk about games. I promise. I feel like some of my listeners are like, great, what quotes are PJ going to come up with this week from rare ancient philosophers or something like that?
I love that.
And I have a few just in case.
I'm sure Easter is, very historical. So I'm sure you have
Yeah.
many, many, many
Hey,
quotes.
so, okay, remind me, you are in Montreal, right?
I am,
You
yes.
are. So, what does Easter look like for you, specifically, you and your family? And then what does it look like in Montreal? Because there's a whole heavily French influence. So, I'm really curious.
Yeah, so Easter here, that's a very good question. I'll start with my family. We're pretty low key
Yeah.
about it. I think a lot of families are low key about it. If you're more religious, there's the church aspect, and that's a
Right.
big time for those families to spend time at the church. But it's not something that everyone has plans like Christmas or Thanksgiving where it's hard to see anyone. So I have specifically turned Easter into 3 days of board gaming for about the past four
Ooh.
years. I use it as a time to see my brother because I don't always get to see him. And then I
Okay.
invite friends who don't necessarily have plans. So that's kind of why I don't know what the rest of the world is doing. I like to turn it almost into like, how some people, when they have Thanksgiving, they open their doors
Yeah.
to everyone who might be
Yeah.
lonely. I kind of do that with Easter. I love the colors. I love spring's my favorite time of year. And I also love coloring eggs every year. So
Yep.
I'm able to feed people and play games and just have a good time. And that's what Easter is for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, here, at least here in the US, we do what's called Friendsgiving instead of Thanksgiving, which
Yes.
is what you described. And it sounds like you just do it at Easter time. That is awesome.
Yeah, and I have
Cool.
always just kind of loved toys and games and play and all of these things. And Easter's a really great time for that because of the
Yeah.
colors, because in Montreal it's finally starting to usually the snow is starting to melt, so people are very excited. And a lot of people, especially if they don't have kids, they haven't colored eggs in years or done something like that. So you just kind of put it in front of them and you just see their minds kind of like expand back to childhood and just let loose and have a good time. So I really love witnessing other people participate in that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So,
Yeah.
so I guess 3 days, right? 3 days? Do you do like a
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday? Do you Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Like, what is that?
So the holiday here, you get to choose between the Monday and the Friday if your company doesn't mandate it.
Okay,
So typically, I think my brother often gets the Monday. So for us, it'll be Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
cool.
Yeah, and usually by the Monday we're kind of a bit more low key, a little bit
Hmm.
more chill, but the Saturday and Sunday can be pretty rambunctious.
Wow. That's cool. So, did you know that Easter actually is a season
It's a
and not just a
season.
single, yeah. So in the liturgical calendar, okay, here we get, yeah. So so technically Easter starts in the Catholic Church. The Easter starts on Saturday night, right? There's like an Easter vigil mass. It's long. It's usually in the evening because like all the lights are off in the church because all the Christ is dead, right? And then the
Yes.
lights come on, the candles are lit because he's the resurrection. But that starts the Easter season, so it goes until Pentecost, which is depending upon the calendar, is usually at the end of May. So, like, you can celebrate Easter tide all throughout April and all of May, which is great because for the two of us, the Tauri, right? Birthdays in May are during the Easter tide. So, so yeah, you theoretically could play. You could extend your Easter celebration with your friends. If there's Easter themed games you want to play, you could play. I mean, obviously you could play board games whenever you want, right? But if you want
Absolutely.
to focus on Easter, you could go all the way to May and do that. And I think that gets lost sometimes. I think we think of it as just the day or the weekend, right? Um,
Is it near Easter where we give up something for a week?
okay, so yes, I love
Because I
that you
used to
asked this
do
question.
that. I
Yeah,
used to,
so
yeah.
the season we're currently in right now is called Lent.
Hmm.
So it starts on Ash Wednesday, which is the day immediately following Fat Tuesday, my favorite day of the year, and it ends on Easter Sunday. So typically, broad strokes, right, within the Catholic Church, there's two types of fasting. There's a public fast where you don't eat meat on Fridays. Stop. That's it. You're just not allowed to eat meat on Fridays. And then you're supposed to do some sort of a personal devotional fast, one that you don't share with people. It's just a thing between you and the Lord, kind of a deal. And that's up to you. So the individual can celebrate that in any way they're comfortable with. And
I did not give up board games. I apologize.
good for you. Good for you. Um,
Oh,
I think the point of giving up something during Lent is that it's supposed to be some sort of a vice, right? And I don't know that board games are a vice, so I don't blame you for
I
not
didn't know it had
giving
to
up.
be a
Yeah.
vice. I thought it
Yeah,
had to just be like a, I thought it was more symbolic. I gave up chewing gum when I was in elementary school.
yep.
That's how I remember it.
A lot of people like give up chocolate, like
Mm.
because it's bad for you, and the whole point is you're giving up something that's bad for you to draw you closer to the Lord. That's like real bare bones. Strip away it all. That's why we do it. And yeah, so there you go. Well, there you go. Don't give up board games for Lent, and play more board games in Eastertide, which was what we're about to celebrate. So that's pretty exciting, and it's kind of the highlight of the liturgical season, you know. So, and I imagine Montreal being heavily French influenced, there's a large Catholic population in Montreal.
There is, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of and
So do you have like a favorite game? Like when you get together at Easter with your brother and any friends that is it kind of a hold on, let me ask this first. Is it an open door? But so it's you and your brother for the weekend. Is it an open door, people rotating in and out, friends know you're gonna have folks over, or is it like the same 5, 6 people? Or what does
it
that look like?
changes. Every year
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. Sometimes
Okay.
it's a revolving door. I've had a lot of friends who work in like the restaurant industry and stuff like
Sure.
that. So they actually work on the weekends, but the day that they have off, they'll come in and
Yep.
be able to at least celebrate Easter for the portion that they're available because they know we'll be up and doing something. Sometimes it's just me and my brother, depending on, how often I've seen him, if we just want to have some
Right.
time together. So yeah, it really depends on the year. This year, I think it's going to be primarily me and my brother. We might invite one or two other people who are close to, but it'll be less of a revolving door. It's been a long winter and an interesting. I don't know. It's been an interesting year, so
It
just a
has.
bit closer to home this time.
So don't show up on your doorstep.
I mean, if you show up, I'm not gonna turn you away. Like, how could I do such a thing?
I love it. So, do you and your brother have a favorite game that y'all like to play when y'all get together for the weekend, Easter
So
weekend?
I started this tradition, I'm going to call it,
Okay.
prior to like a year that my brother didn't attend, and there was a game that became kind of like the game that we play.
Okay.
For some reason, he has just rebelled against it, and he does not want to play it. But I might ask him to because it's
Okay.
important to me. I have that here. I realize I put
Yeah.
everything on the floor, so it's a bit awkward, but I will grab that. It's very thematic, which is
Okay.
why I chose it, and it is Bunny Kingdom. And
Okay.
it was the first real like thematic. The year I started my Instagram, I believe. Like I started at around Valentine's Day. Yeah, it was like the first holiday. Actually, no, I guess there was some St. Patrick's Day stuff too. But this was the first like thematic. Like I'm doing a holiday Bunny Kingdom. I think my first reel might even be like me unboxing this game. I'm not sure, but it has a place in my heart. And have you played this one before?
No, actually, I'm very aware of it. It's just having, you probably know this. There's so many board games, right? So many board games.
So many board
So
games.
many board games. So she's holding up Bunny Kingdom, guys. So I encourage you to watch the YouTube channel, and you can see by Richard Garfield. Yeah. No, it's okay, because I have a lot of listeners who like, yeah, we just listen to you in the car and we can't ever see you.
That's amazing. I get it. I get it. I was like, what? Yeah, so Richard Garfield, very
Yep.
classic person there. And it's a drafting game.
Okay.
Yeah, so you draft cards And basically, you're trying to make fiefs, and they score every round, and it's like multiplied by the size of your fief, not your size, excuse me, the amount of castles you've been able to build in your fief, multiplied
Okay.
by the different types of resources. So there's like different terrains that are resources, but also like cards that you can draft that can add resources. So it can multiply quite heavily depending on what you're doing. There's also some of the cards you can draft are like hidden scoring objectives for end of game. And a lot of what you're drafting, sorry, I guess I should say a lot of what you're drafting are the tiles on the board. So, or the squares, they're not actually tiles, but it's like a
Okay.
grid of terrain. And you take the spaces that you're trying to make them touch, but also get the ones that have the resources that you need to actually make them worth anything or to be able to place a castle or whatnot. So you're drafting like A9 and B7 and like C2 and trying to put your resources into them at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah, and like I love the bunnies. I'm gonna show you the bunnies because you
Okay.
know
Show
me.
me
I'm
show me the bunnies.
I'm all about the colors and the pieces and the stuff like that. So,
So y'all are
um,
just gonna, for those of you in your car, you're just gonna miss out. You're not gonna get to see the cute bunnies. Oh my God, look at
colors
that.
are so good.
They're
Like they have pink
vibrant.
and purple. Yeah, so we have them all on the board. They really pop out. And I have an
Yeah.
expansion which I haven't played, but they have like a nice blue and they're just super fun. And then you have all the castles that you can place on the
Yeah.
board too. And
So it looks
I
like you
know.
could play 5 or 6 players. Is that 5 to 6?
It is 2 to 4. One
Two
of
to
these
four.
colors must actually be from the expansion. I must have put it
Okay.
in the wrong box. You know, when you're filming content, everything ends up everywhere. It's a bit of a
Everywhere.
disaster. And yeah, you have this cute board. I know the people in the car can't see it, but I'm gonna show it anyway for those of you watching. So you're just like drafting where you're gonna put your bunnies on this board, and then the
Okay.
scoring goals and additional resources and stuff like that.
And they're not tiles, they're
They're
cards.
So you're drafting the cards that represent which tile you get to put your bunny on.
Okay.
So like if I have A4, I get to put a bunny on A4. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but some of them have like the resources on them, so it's like you get carrot if you
Oh,
want carrot.
who doesn't like
Um,
carrots?
that's a multiplier, so
Okay.
important. Yeah, so it's super quick and easy, but it does get a bit puzzly because of the drafting element and trying to make everything connect. And I love a little puzzly. And I like interaction. So as
Right.
much as you're doing things on your own, you're also trying to make sure like that could be a really good spot for someone else, and you're just like, I cannot let them have that. And that's important
Right.
to me in a game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So I'm thinking about Bunny Kingdom, and I was thinking about the bunnies and eggs and Easter, right?
Hmm.
That is a really weird combination, right? Because bunnies don't lay eggs.
They don't?
And then if the whole point of celebrating Easter is the resurrection of Christ, what's it got to do with a bunny? So fascinating story, really quickly. I told you I had lots of facts about Easter. So ancient pagan times, long before Christianity came to the Mediterranean world, Easter was a celebration of fertility, right? And rebirth, obviously,
Yes.
springtime. And then we get the word Easter from the German word. Yeah, I didn't take German. Well, that's not true. I took a semester of German, but I can't speak German to save my life. But that's where the word Easter comes from, is the springtime, the word for springtime. And there's like a goddess, which is pretty cool. So that's how we get the Easter bunny. We just get these German immigrants who come to the United States, particularly in the Midwest where I'm from. And so the Easter Bunny reigns supreme. Okay, why do we tell you this story? Because now we have a game that you just showed us about Bunny Kingdom, right? Like maybe if that concept had not made its way to America, maybe there would not have been a Bunny Kingdom. It would have been I don't know, Raccoon Kingdom or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's true.
Yeah. So there it is.
I thought it might have to do with another aspect of bunnies, but well, you said
Well,
fertility and bunnies, and I was like,
nope.
oh,
There's definitely that. Springtime's all about rebirth and reproduction and renewal, all that. So yes, it's definitely there because it's all fertility, right? So yeah.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so that's interesting though. Bunny Kingdom became a tradition between you and your brother refuses. He rebels in the
Well,
Bunny
he
Kingdom.
wasn't there the first year or two that I did
That's
it,
why.
so it was with other friends, and then it became so important. And I don't know if he was just hungover or
But maybe
tired or
that
just didn't
happens.
like it, but we started playing, he was just like, no, and he just totally nixed it and never played again. So I don't know what happened.
Who knows? You're gonna have to ask him when you see him. for Easter and
Drop a
record
comment
his
in the video.
record his response, drop the comments. Yeah, because I want to know. I think that's really interesting because I never played it and it looks cool and cute. And you can play purple, it looks like.
Yes, you can.
I love purple.
Me
Love
too.
playing. Love playing purple. Oh my goodness, purple and gold.
Oh yeah, the yellow in there is really bright and luscious too. So
I noticed that as you were
yeah.
holding the pieces up. Yeah. So what about, does your brother have a favorite game? Like he's like, Michelle, we're going to play
So
this.
for Easter, not particularly. Outside of
Okay.
Easter, my brother and I have been running through all of the villainous games. We've been doing
Okay.
that for some time now. That's has nothing to do with Easter. We just like
Right.
the two-player asymmetrical vibes. But I did introduce him to a game a couple years ago. I think it was a couple years ago now for Easter that he really enjoyed, and we brought it to a family gathering recently. And it's just something that was a big hit. We laughed a lot. I'll bend over weirdly again here to pick it up off the floor. And that's actually Hues and Cues.
Mm, yes.
Yeah. So this is a great game, and one of the reasons it reminds me of Easter is because when I do the Easter egg coloring, I color them all the different colors. So it's like painting.
Yes.
So it fits into my experience of Easter with this cover
That's
and yeah,
so
theme.
cool. I
Yeah.
love that. You know, I've never played Hues and Cues.
It's like it's such a good game, and especially one of those games if you play with the right people, they
Right.
have to be into it, and then you give the clues, and like it just makes for a lot of laughs. Do you know the concept of it? Do you know how it
So
plays?
sort of walk me through it because it's like my understanding is like you have someone who they say a word clue, single word clue, and that's supposed to
Yeah.
draw the rest of us to a specific color.
Exactly. So you have this big board with all these colors,
Right.
and when you have like all these colors that are similar close together, they start to like the human brain doesn't process the same
Yeah.
exactly. So someone could give a clue like sunset, and you'd be like, oh gosh, is a sunset yellow? Is it orange? Is it oh my gosh? So you're
Hmm.
trying to narrow down with your first clue to give each person a turn to place a token in that square. A square can
Okay.
only be taken once. And then you get to give a two-word clue, and it goes the other way around, and everyone gets to put a token down.
Okay.
And the two-word clue kind of helps hone in on what you are really trying to
Okay.
say. My favorite clue ever is there's some lighter pinks on the bigger board was anemic salmon. That's my favorite clue. And
Anemic
then
salmon.
it was
Yeah.
so good. It was like,
Oh
oh,
my
gotcha.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, and the way it scores is that there's a 9 by 9 little grid that you place. So if your clue, so the clues, I should have said there's a clue giver. Hopefully that was kind
Right.
of evident. Someone has a color that they're giving these clues about. And let's say it was like A9, and that was A9. You would put your little square of 9 by 9 around it, and if someone was right in the middle, they get, I
Okay.
believe it's 3 points. If they're anywhere else in the square, they get 2 points. And if they're on the outside of the square, they also get 1 point. And the
Oh.
clue giver gets a point for everyone in the square. So you can also get
Okay.
quite a few points for giving good clues. So it incentivizes you to really do
Right.
give those good clues.
So the
Yeah.
scoring's kind of like the scoring is kind of like Dixit,
Yeah, a little bit like that. You're
right?
to make sure that you're actually trying to help
Right.
people get it right. You don't want to just give bad clues. So
Right.
it helps for
Is
that.
so like in Dixit, if everyone guesses your clue correctly, you don't get any points. Is there some sort of penalty in Hues and Cues if everyone gets it right? Because I gave
No,
it too easy a clue? No. Okay.
No, there's some restrictions, and it really depends on the group of people you're playing. But you can't say colors, and the
Right.
names of colors can expand. Like, is eggplant a color name or is it a vegetable? Like, it really depends how fussy you are about
Yep.
those types of clues. So you have to kind of set some ground rules if you have fussy. Fussy's not the right word because I can be pretty compliant. So shout out to all of you people who are a little bit strict,
A little bit strict.
a little bit strict.
I'm thinking about, oh my God, I'm thinking about that movie from the 80s. Sorry, guys, if I'm too old. But it's like Flight of the Navigator, and the computer would be like, compliance. And that
That's
you
amazing.
yeah, you would say, do that, he would issue a command and he'd be like, compliance. And you're like,
Here we go.
oh,
Me and that
oh
computer
my
have something
God.
in common.
People are gonna be like, what is with y'all tonight? I don't know. This is great. No, that's cool though. So I understand now why Hues and Cues is so accessible to
Very
such a huge
accessible.
audience, and bring that to your family. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So I've go
I
ahead.
knew it was, but I had no idea. That's cool.
Yeah, like I've played with my family, who are 60, 70 years old, like, and they can play and they can have a good time and laugh. And like, you can play if you're the type who like to have a few beers, you can get real wild with it 'cause it gets kind of funny. Um, so I haven't done that in a long time, but there was one Easter, the year of the anemic salmon. There was a few beers at the table.
So when you drink a few beers, an anemic
Yeah.
salmon makes its way to your table, and there you go. That's just
What are you gonna do?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that's awesome. So keeping with the theme of eggs, I think a game that comes to my mind for Easter is really obvious yet accessible to family, and that's Wingspan, right?
Yes. I
I
haven't
mean,
played, I'm gonna disclaim that I haven't played it.
see, there you
And
go.
yes.
So what I like about Wingspan is if I were to get together with my family, how about would you like to hear my family tradition for Easter?
Absolutely. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
didn't ask. I was like, the
No,
host is commanding but I should have
I'm just,
asked.
you're doing great. No, this is fine. I'm just thinking about it. So keep this in mind. I'm going to tell you this story. And if I were still in Louisiana, I would bring Wingspan to this event. So on the Friday before Easter, which is known as Good Friday, the requirement in the Catholic Church is that you're only allowed one meal for the entire day, and it has to be meatless. Well, I can tell you in Louisiana, that's so easy. So easy. Because there's so much seafood, so we can get away with it. It's great. But you're only allowed one meal. So typically what would happen is the family would get together not on Easter Sunday, but on Good Friday, and there would be a massive crawfish boil. Okay.
Amazing.
For those of you who've never been to a crawfish boil, you buy them by the sack. And they're usually 10-pound sacks, and they're live crawfish. And then you boil them with artichoke hearts and lemons and corn and sausage and
Oh,
potatoes and turnips, and just in this big, huge pot over a propane tank while you're outside. You use a wooden paddle to stir the pot, and then you dump the pot over like a picnic table that is covered in newspaper, because that's how we do it. And
mm-hmm.
then you just eat. You peel the crawfish tails and suck the heads, and so you can snack all day, and it's one meal.
Incredible.
Yeah, leave it to the Cajuns to find loopholes in liturgical requirements, right? It's like, what? It's only one meal. I've only had 5 crawfish tails. I've got to eat more, right? And so usually you're doing them in batches of 10 or 20 pounds, depending on the size of your pot. So while you're doing that in Louisiana, and it's hot and it's sweaty, but that's fine. You've got, you go inside with the kids and the wives or whatever to be in the air conditioning, and you play Wingspan. So why I like Wingspan is, first of all, it's probably the most accessible board game because there's like a tutorial that tells you what your first 5 turns are going to be. You pull out specific cards and hand them to each player. They each have like not a player mat, but like this. It's like a player aid, but it tells you specifically discard these food resources, keep these specific bird cards in your hand. Player on turn 1, play this bird, spend this resource, berry, worm, whatever it costs, and play it into your habitat in front of you. So it does that for your first 5 turns, at which point you've seen all the different actions you can take, and then you're on your own after that, and you just play the game, right? According to the goals, birds facing to the left physically on the card, or the size of the birds, or whatever. But the thing that makes this game so, I think, relevant to Easter are the eggs.
Eggs, those are cool. And you could accidentally eat one thinking they're a
You
mini egg
So you could, because they do look like Cadbury mini eggs, and I think that there's some gamers who do that, right? They play Wingspan at Easter, and
with
instead
the
of using
eggs.
the eggs, they use the Cadbury mini eggs that have that
Yes.
hard candy shell. Afterwards, you then eat all the eggs that you laid on front in your board, or something like that. But that's what I think about when I think about Wingspan. Is, so you're playing the cards, you're playing the eggs. The eggs are just cute and adorable. I mean, I know Wormspan also has eggs as well. They're less cute for Easter, but yeah. But I think Wingspan it's accessible to family, and it's so colorful and vibrant. Even without upgrades, I of course have everything, the nesting box and whatnot. I even have, drum roll please, I love that you took me literally. I hope y'all heard that. I have special cards that were hand drawn by our dear friend Goja, Wingspan Girl on Instagram. Her son,
Oh,
Anthony, drew them from Poland and he shipped them over and he drew some
beautiful.
birds and sent them to me. And he included a card with our now deceased cat, Shrimp. So Shrimp has a card in the game because, birds like to chase, cats like to chase birds. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm all set.
So kind. What a
Yeah.
wonderful
Right?
gift. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
love that.
And one of the birds is the pelican because the state bird of Louisiana is the brown pelican. He knew
Hmm.
that. He knew I was from Louisiana, so he made sure to include a pelican. And I'm like, man, that's just, lovely. I'm going to
That's
try not to tear up
beautiful.
there. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
the board game community is so wonderful. I've been given some things. You're just like, you're just gonna give that to me? And it's
Right.
like, what? And they're just so happy to. And you're like, this is incredible.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Absolutely. No. Yeah, our community is just so giving. We really are. And to people that you've never, in some cases, you've never met, you know? It's like, I
Yeah,
don't, and just so wonderful. I wouldn't
absolutely.
I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. They make the day brighter. It's why I do this, so I can reach out to all of you. Like I haven't seen
Yeah.
you since Gen Con last year, so I get to see you right now. This is
I'm
great.
so happy we're doing this. We put off chatting for way too long, and that's my
Way too
fault.
long.
I've been so
You're
busy.
busy. You're busy being famous and taking over the world.
Taking over the world.
You are, yeah. One Lorcana card at a time.
You know. So I have so many comments on what you just said. My brain went into so many different places
Okay.
with the wingspan. First being that I have started baking cheesecakes with those mini eggs in them for Easter, so like mini ones with
Oh,
them. So those are delicious. So if you
okay.
do brownies or anything like that, it's a super fun touch to Easter. I highly recommend baking with the mini eggs. Whoops. But also, one of the games I had in front of me on the floor here, the same reason I haven't played Wingspan is the reason I don't like the real version of this game. As a real, I don't think there's enough player interaction for me. Not to say I wouldn't enjoy
It's a
Wingspan,
fair
but it
point.
doesn't scratch that itch for me.
It's a
So
fair point.
yeah, so I did try Everdell, which had the same problem. And then
Mm-hmm.
I tried My Little Everdell, which I think is another
Yeah.
cute kind of spring one here. I haven't played it much, but I have played it and I think it's cute. I think I prefer it to Everdell because it's quicker.
Yeah.
I can survive the fact that I'm not interacting with you too much, and it still has those beautiful tokens in it. Are you an Everdell fan? I know that Everdell
Uh,
would be such a good Easter
it
like
would.
table
It
present
definitely.
situation. Yeah.
It definitely would. I would have to say, in our household, Everdell was just underwhelming,
Okay.
right? Not a bad game, and I know everyone loves it. I'm like the king of unpopular opinions sometimes, but we saw a demo of Everdell Duo at Gen Con last year. And
Oh,
because I'm lucky enough to have a spouse who's in the hobby with me, we play a lot of two-player games. We think Duo is probably better for our gaming style. But you're right, Everdell has the same it presents the same scenario as Wingspan where there's very little interaction. And I
yeah.
agree that is a flaw. I don't know if it's a flaw.
You
That's
know,
a I don't know. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a flaw. Something I
Yeah.
learned that I had no idea. Like this is something that I did not know until I started my Instagram and became friends with different people in the
Mm-hmm.
community or in different parts of the world. There are some people who find any kind of confrontation or conflict very unenjoyable or uncomfortable or something they just don't want to do at all.
Right.
And they actually only really play games that have very limited interaction, and that's how they like
Right.
to game. So I think those games are really great in satisfying that kind of gamer style. I
Absolutely.
am from a family with two older brothers, and you were trying to take each other down. Like that's why you played the game. So
Okay.
I didn't, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that you could play a game and just have a good time in this kind of
Yeah.
solitaire shared experience.
Yeah.
So it was
Apparently,
interesting to
apparently you can.
apparently you can. I'm
But
working on it.
I think that accessibility to our non-gaming family and friends is what makes those games strong. And why I embrace Wingspan. It's just so that I can introduce it to people who are
Mhm.
non-gamers, and maybe they'll get into more advanced, heavy Euro games. That's our favorite. I want to think. I want to be put to the test mentally, sometimes emotionally as well. So I really enjoy that type of game, but I'm okay playing a more gateway, entry level, easily accessible game, I think, And it
Yeah,
really does that.
absolutely.
And it's perfect for Easter.
It is.
After
Absolutely.
after eating tens and tens and 20 pounds of boiled crawfish.
I love that. I love that. So that is part of your tradition you're saying back home.
Oh
The
yes.
crawfish and the wingspan
I
combined.
have not had boiled crawfish. Wow. I haven't had boiled crawfish in 5 years. Yeah.
Sounds like you're gonna need to go have some crawfish for Easter soon.
Yep. Well, unfortunately it won't be for Easter, but I will during Easter time because I'm going home in May
That's
for my
true.
niece's graduation. So I was like, my sister said, "What do you want to eat?" I said, "Boiled crawfish. I don't care where we go. That's what I want."
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. So what is next? Because you have a
What is
couple of
next?
other games. Yeah.
This is one that I'm actually excited because I forgot about your historical stuff, and I'm not sure I remember the story entirely. Maybe you do. I should because I'm the Canadian here. But
I'll
I have
try.
Gift of Tulips in front of me. And are
So
you
good.
aware of the Gift of Tulips that we're sent in Canada every year from the
No.
Netherlands, I believe it is? So
No.
all those tulips around Parliament, if I'm not mistaken, are a gift from, I believe, from the war, one of the World War II, perhaps. Oh
Okay.
gosh, I
Probably.
feel like I need to look it up now. I don't remember the juicy tidbits to the story, but it is a gift from them. I believe it's the tulips come from the Netherlands, right? That's the
They do.
main. Yeah,
Hmm.
and they send us this gift of tulips every year. So when I saw this, I thought that was just so fitting for my little Canadian heart, and it's beautiful. So I should
It
hold
is.
it up better here.
It
It's such
is
a beautiful, beautiful game. This one's by
good.
Weird Giraffe. Have you played it? You have it?
It is.
Excellent.
It is definitely a favorite in our local game group. I found it. So we're really big fans of Weird Giraffe games. I've had Carla Kopp on the show
Amazing.
talking about Reef and Ruins, which fulfilled on Kickstarter some time ago.
Is it because they make Big Easy busking? Is that why?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is, in fact, why they. Yeah, yeah. I'm not ashamed to say it. Yes, that is why. Although that's not an Easter game, but that is why I love Weird Giraffe. So we found Gift of Tulips, and it was like, this is cool. Like, you could get points for gifting tulips to your opponents, which could help them score points at the end of the game, but you score immediate points. So you're constantly weighing the balance of points now or points later. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Tell me, besides the national historical symbolism, which I think is amazing, right? What else? What is it about that game? What is your favorite thing, element of the game?
Okay, so I did have to do a quick Google, so I'm going to go back to the historical
Okay.
element very quickly.
No, do it.
But apparently, we housed the royal family during World War II,
Oh,
and that helped
sure.
liberate the Netherlands. So it's been an ongoing gift. The Dutch royal family
Right,
sends
right.
them. Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
just yeah, so that's pretty cool. What I love about this game, like you were saying, I love that you can gift the tulips. And for those of you who've never played, there's kind of it's like an economy kind of
Hmm.
game. So there's that open market in front of you, and the tulips are
Right.
worth different amounts depending on what's happening in the market. So if you gift something that's worth more or less, you get more or less points kind of
Right.
situation. And I think that's really cool. I love that you can get points for giving somebody something else because it's like, I'm being so sweet. Look at me. But you're like, hey, I'm getting points. I also love, so part of that market element is that the end game scoring, depending on what the market is doing, that's how they will score the most. But there's a hidden part of the market that you can
Hmm.
feed into. So depending what comes out of there, and you don't take all of those cards to determine what will affect the end game scoring,
Right.
but you might be trying to like funnel in all of one color to sway the market by the end of the game. I love that aspect of the game because you don't know what's going to happen, and you have to hope that your influence was strong enough if you're playing that strategy to actually get the outcome you want.
Yep.
So it's tricky, the balance
Yeah.
of what to do. Yeah.
You would get along really well with our local game group when we play Gift of Tulips. However, you would probably make my wife angry. So
Does she not
it
want my gift of tulips?
no gift. She likes to give the tulip or keep the tulip, but our friends are like, put it at the secret festival. Or, you know, it's like he's always encouraging us to put it in that secret festival, like you're talking about. And she just gets frustrated because our friend Eric, love Eric to death. He loves to suggest in whispering tones what you should do, but it's always put it in the secret festival. It's never give it to me, I'll take it, you know, like we do in a game. I know
Is
it sounds
this
ridiculous.
is this friend a friend who might be described as an agent of chaos?
Yeah, yes.
How can I tell?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Eric loves chaos, and this game just really feeds that, right? It's supposed to be cozy, and you know you're gifting tulips, and it's commemorating, you know, the Dutch royal family and their gift of tulips to Canada. And he's like, chaos. I'm like, okay, yeah,
Love that.
no, it's great.
Love it.
I think that's the strength of that simple card game is that it can scratch the itch of if you want a cozy pretty game, you can get that out of it. And if you want a chaotic manipulation game, you can get that as well.
Yes. And
Right?
it's not like if you play nice, you're necessarily going to lose. You really
Right.
could win with that strategy. So
Hmm.
it's interesting that it scratches the itch, but you're also being competitive while doing
Right.
that.
You're being
Oh,
competitively friendly.
yes. Like I said, here, have this tulip. Isn't it so nice of me?
It is so nice of you. Yeah, absolutely. And the
Yeah,
market shifts because you can put it in the open market instead of gifting or keeping, you can put it in the open market. And depending upon the ranking, they shift in their value at the
exactly.
end of the game.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to balance it. You got to balance. All about the balance.
It's all about the balance. And it's
That's
so
a
pretty.
yeah.
I didn't show a card back, but I loved their choice of like the almost like the porcelain style,
Yes.
like old
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
silverware, not silverware, but like
It's that
table
blue and
settings.
white
Yeah.
porcelain. I can't remember what you call
Can't
that.
remember what
There's
it's
a
called either.
that art style, but yes. Yeah.
I love it.
It's great. No, it's
Yeah.
awesome. That is fantastic. So let's talk about. I've got one more.
Okay.
It's not gonna come as any surprise at all, and that is Jerusalem Anno Domini by DeVere Games, right? So, for those of you who don't know, have you played Jerusalem? Have you had a chance to ever?
I have not,
It's
but when you get hype about a game, I want to play it, so I'm
it's it
intrigued.
is it is so it's really good. Okay, so basically, it's 2 to 4 players, and you're playing kind of like the leader of a small group of Jews in Jerusalem at the time of Jesus, and we are closing in on Maundy Thursday in during Holy Week. It's called Maundy Thursday. That's the night of the Lord's Supper, the Last Supper, made famous by the painting. So the whole thing is you're trying to you have it's a worker placement game. It is a straight, beautiful, seamless worker placement resource management game. So if you like that,
Do?
you will enjoy this. But the theme is so well informed as well. You're sending your people from your camp out into the wilderness to gather stone, bread, and fish. You're trying to manage that because you're trying to get your group into the upper room where the Lord's Supper takes place and get them seated as close to Jesus and the table and the 12 apostles as you possibly can. The
Oh,
closer
wow.
your people are to the table, the more points they get at the end of the game. But you can manipulate, like, even though I put a guy out in the room, you can take an action that could potentially move them later, and you have to be invited. So, in order to do that, you got to take actions that where you go and visit the 12 apostles because they don't start at the table, and that action puts them out.
Wow.
And the apostles act as point multipliers at the end of the game. It's
God.
great. It is crazy. Yeah, it's a cool moment, right? It's just have them over, come down, and we're gonna try to get as close to Jesus as possible, but we're gonna get our wooden pieces close.
That's so
It's
interesting.
it's cool, but it's very approachable. The game, like I said, even if the theme doesn't sing to you, I understand. It's not like it's not preachy, but the parables are represented. The components are beautiful. If the theme offends you, you can still play it. It's a solid worker placement. You're just trying to get your guys closest to the table to score points. At the end of the day, that's all it really is. But the theme really informs the play in
I
an
think it sounds
interesting way.
great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very cool. I didn't know what to think. I was like, okay. And then we played it and we're like, what? This is seriously, it's a good game. And yeah, so we keep it. That's an Easter game, obviously, right?
Yeah,
I don't
very
think I
much
would play
so.
that in like the middle of the summertime. I don't feel like it. But it's Devere, so it's a quality game. I think Devere and CGE have really been knocking out of the park with their quality games, quality themes, quality production value. And Devere just did such a great job with this one. It's amazing.
Awesome.
So you'll just have to come over for the weekend and play it. You'll have to spend Easter with us one year.
I mean, I'm tempted, but this year I have plans with my brother, but I'm kind of like,
That's
maybe, oh my gosh. So I have an idea. My brother is not one who travels. Like, that's
okay.
not what he does. He's very
Okay.
homebody, but he wants to go to Louisiana. He
Oh.
wants to try out. The only thing we just started cooking together recently, and we made,
Hmm.
what was it? We made gumbo. I always get gumbo and jambalaya mixed up, and I can't remember which one it was.
Okay. Is it mostly like a soup or is it a rice dish? Because you serve gumbo over rice, but a gumbo is a soup.
Yes, it was I think it was gumbo then.
Yep.
Yeah. The
Yep.
one that's supposed to have the andouille and the okra.
That would be gumbo.
Yes, it was definitely gumbo.
Yep.
So I had it right the first time.
Okay.
We didn't put in the okra because we were both afraid of the slimy factor,
Yep.
and it was our first time, so we
Hmm.
didn't go that route. But he
Hmm.
would have a great time going to play board games and eat crawfish because he's never done that, and I think that he would do that. So why don't we meet you down in Louisiana for
We could
Easter
do
one
that.
year?
We could do
Yeah,
that. We'll go to Easter and we could do that. Definitely, that's something we can make happen.
awesome,
Absolutely. I would love
excellent.
that. That would
I
be
love it.
fantastic.
Yes.
Do you have any other Easter traditions? Easter board game traditions?
Not particularly. The painting of the
Okay.
eggs is actually quite important to me because I do it with my father, or I used to
Hmm.
do it. I still do sometimes, but it's just one of those things that stuck with me. But we were talking about community and how nice people are and
Yes.
getting wonderful presents. And I have a shameless promotion of something somebody sent me that I just love so much and just want to show off.
Okay.
And it is the Gamey Susan
Oh,
with all the colors. And because
from
for me,
Modern Meeple.
yes, because for me, Easter is very colorful. And
It
I don't,
is.
this is just something that I love. And I'm definitely going to use this Easter and fill it up with all the tokens that I can while I paint my eggs and play board games. I
So
was trying to
this
make it
is
spin, but I can't hold it and spin it.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is really cool because Josh was just on the show a few weeks ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, and he was talking about his product, and I'm like, this is what I was impressed by. You probably know it because you're holding his product right now, but it's not that rewood. It's like this compressed wood. It's not 3D printed.
It's not
No,
all
it's
fibery
yeah,
in a
it's
good way.
yes, it's all machine. He machine works. Josh, if you're watching this, I apologize for getting all the terminology wrong. But there, thanks for holding the purple one too. I appreciate that. Yeah. Um, I want to comment on. I think one of the things that you're known for is your bright yellow Kallax shelves, which are out of production. You
Hmm.
you can't get them anywheres at IKEA anymore.
You cannot.
You have to hunt for those.
Yeah, and I did one year. I
I
don't know if you
remember that.
remember.
So, guys, if you
Great.
know where you can find yellow Kallax shelves, you've got to contact Michelle because she's going to need them as her game collection continues to
As it
grow.
continues to grow, yes,
Yeah.
I had two. There's a third one on top now. It was a whole thing. But the community, another community that's interesting are
Yeah.
they're called like buns or like it's basically a group where you can trade things on the internet, and they make
Okay.
Facebook. There's an app for it, but they also make Facebook groups called that. And man, if you're looking for something specific, like leave it to the sleuths of the internet to come together and be like, here, I have this. And oh my gosh, people are like, we're going to get you your yellow Kallax. People will start to comment just to be able to follow the thread.
Yep.
Like, it's incredible when you need something niche. It's like
Yep.
super fun.
I remember you hunting for that, and I remember following along. It's like, she does have yellow shelves. Yeah. And
Yes.
yeah, it's usually the dark black or like the wood grain that you can find nowadays. I have to admit, I have very few Kallaxes. I use off-brand from Menards or wherever we can find it. But we could drive down to St. Louis and go to IKEA, but it's just, it's just easier to go down the corner, and they're almost the same. They're a little different.
Honestly, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I think it's actually starting to grow. The Kallax have been the shelf of gamers for a long
Hmm.
time, but they're not actually that efficient in terms of like the space used with all the different shapes and stuff now. They fit the
Yeah.
square ones the best of any
Yep.
shelf, I think. But as I expand and grow, it would be wonderful to get those kind of customizable
Oh yeah.
shelves one day. That's the dream. I think like All
Yeah.
Play and other companies like that are starting to make some pretty cool selections of shelves that you can get. So it's definitely board game table first. That's on one day on the agenda,
Yes.
and then maybe some custom yellow shelves one day.
I think so. Katie and I were pricing game tables. We were thinking about maybe just getting a game table for Christmas or something. The tables themselves are relatively inexpensive. It's when you add the chairs.
Is it the chair?
Yeah, because you have to have 6 of them, and then the cup holders, and it's when you add all the things. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But you're
yeah,
definitely right. The all play shelving are amazing, right?
yeah.
Um, because they're designed by a board game company for board gamers. So there's a cube specifically for Frosthaven.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a big box. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. So Banzinator, she posted like maybe a year ago. She redid all of her shelves. She did them by size so she could fit them all in. And so you take your widest or your deepest boxes to the left of several cubes, and then you build out from there. Doing this vertically, of course. I think she ended up opening up like 2 cubes, so she had 2 empty cubes when she was all said and done, because it's just being efficient with the space. To your point, they are not the most efficient shelving
Yeah.
system, as the standardization of board game size
Yes.
has evolved, right? So,
Absolutely. I am grateful for the yellow, though. I feel like it
yeah.
has really helped with the pop of some of the photos I take and stuff. So I
Oh,
do
yeah.
love them.
So, All
Yeah.
Play needs to come out with yellow shelving, and they'll be.
The treasure bell shelves.
See, you've already got that's your brand right there. It's Treasure Bell Shelving. I love it. That's great. That is awesome. That is so cool. Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. So I have one last question for you.
Sure.
You were trying to fit into the conversation today the game Root.
Yes, it's right here.
But I want to ask about it.
Absolutely.
And I told you before we recorded is that I've only ever played it once. It's not so I don't know a whole lot. I don't really remember the experience that well. It's not something I own. What is it about Root by Leader Games that attracts you or connects to Eastertide?
So there are woodland creatures that also have rabbits,
Okay.
and the expansions have all sorts of different. There's raccoon. There's a raccoon in this
Yeah.
version. There's birds, and so I was just looking. I was looking for things with rabbits originally. That was kind of the theme
Okay.
I was going for. I have not shown Root to my brother. I've only played Root a handful of times,
Mm-hmm.
and what I like about Root, it is one of those games that in your early teens, I feel. I mean, you can play it older as well, but it's asymmetric powers,
Mm-hmm.
and you can always kind of keep scoring. So people need to just keep turning on the leader. If you don't turn on the leader, they're just going to keep going, and you're never going to stop them entirely, but you can help swing what's happening. And it's just one of those games, that makes me think when you were young and you had time that you would just want to play over and over and over and like learn the powers and
Yep.
destroy your friends and like and it gave me that vibe of a game that you could just play for a very long time.
Okay.
A lot of people who are root enthusiasts do buy all the expansions and then they do get it to the
Hmm.
table fairly regularly. So I do want to try it with my brother. I want to see how he feels about it. It has all the elements that I like in a
Right.
game. I feel like it's the type of game that could make my family yell at each other, but sometimes that's a good thing. I'll just hold it up really
Sure.
quickly here. But yeah, it was just the creatures that originally made me
Okay.
think of Easter vibes. I think
Yeah.
I don't know how many play, I know you can play up to four. It says 2 to 4, but
I
I
think the expansions
I can't
increase that.
imagine playing this game with 2 players. I don't know if there's a different rule set, but it's really like, you want to go after the leader.
Right.
So you really want to have that. Like I said, I don't know if there's a different rule set, but with the rules I've played, I've always played 4 players, and that's the way I
Yeah.
want to play it.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's why we never made it to our collection, is that I don't know that it plays very well at two, because now that you're saying it, it's conjuring memories. Yeah, because you're always
Yes.
attacking the leader. Well, in a two-player game, one of us is going to be the leader, so how is it any different from any other two-player game? So, huh,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
that could be why. It's definitely
Okay.
one I want to play more and more and more.
Yeah.
And now that you made me think of it, maybe I'll see if I can find 2 other players to play with me and my brother over Easter, because that could
Yes,
be fun.
you
Yeah.
you need to do that. You need to. So your brother's not going to want to play Bunny Kingdom, so you introduce him to Root.
Speaking of, another game that I do not have in front of me that I got rid
Okay.
of because it almost destroyed my family for real, my brother specifically,
Okay.
is Killer Bunnies. Do you
Oh,
remember that game? I mean, it
yep,
came out a long time ago,
yep.
and it is pure chaos. It's like
It is pure chaos.
anything where the rules can be left to kind of interpretation does not
Mhm.
fly in my household because there's no referee and
Right.
like it just causes drama. So
Hmm.
we tried to play that one Easter, and like, I'm not joking when I said it almost ruined our relationship. Like, it turned into like a great experience where we learned from each other and it made us closer. But for a
Yeah,
hot minute, the chaos was out of control.
that's incredible. It's like the anti-monopoly or Risk, right? So the problem with Monopoly and Risk is just like the game drags, right? On and on and on and on and on. Whereas this is like just
Quick chaos,
exploding.
explosive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It
That is
was
insane.
crazy. I
That's
even looked for it
fantastic.
because for a long time I just kind of kept it around, being like, maybe I'll play it again. And it seems like I recently brought it to the store and was just like, this cannot be in my house. There's no reason that I need that drum, but someone else will have a great time with
Yep.
it. Yeah.
So, so do you? I don't want to say routinely, but you're obviously not afraid to cull from your collection as necessary. Or do you routinely cull to kind of moderate the size of your collection usually, or?
It's a great question. I have not done a really big call. I have a
Hmm.
small stack of things that are just like obvious things I don't play, and some prototypes that actually never really made it past
Mm,
Kickstarter, and some stuff like that. I was in a very collector mode for a long time, but I've
sure.
gotten to a point where I don't think it's reasonable to keep adding shelves, and I, you know, wasn't able to get things to the table that I actually wanted to play because I was in
Right.
constant like rotation of new things. And I'm kind of over that. I'm more of the type of person who wants to, play like a root and learn the ins and outs and
Yeah.
tell you everything you can possibly do, see if you can break the game. I don't get time to do that as much as like an adult and working, and not to say some adults don't have time, but like with my schedule, I don't always have time for that. But that's more what I like to do. So I do want to sit down and kind of get rid of things that aren't
Right.
bringing me joy. I learned this the hard way. So here's an unpopular
Hmm.
opinion. I bought Ticket to Ride years ago to
Hmm.
try and gateway friends into the game and like in an,
Sure.
it can make approachable game something that they like, and it worked, but I hated playing it because I don't like Ticket to Ride. I find it's more manual labor than playing a game. You're constantly just flipping cards and like, and I don't mind playing on the app when it's streamlined and it only
Right.
takes me a couple of minutes and it's still fun. Like there's a point scoring
Hmm.
system, but it feels like labor. I don't know. For the amount of like cerebral joy versus
Yeah.
physical effort I have to put into playing that game, it's just
Yep.
like doesn't match up for me. So I've
I
decided,
love that.
Yeah. So I've just kind of been like, why would I want something in my collection that doesn't bring me full joy? If someone
Sure.
comes over and wants to play it, then I have to have this uncomfortable moment of being like, well, I don't really want to play that. Which is why would I want to put myself in that position when I have enough games that I would love to play? So
It is absolutely true. I get that. Everything you say is right. However,
you love Ticket to Ride.
so Ticket to Ride is there's a an emotional nostalgia to Ticket to Ride. It is the game, it's the first modern game I ever played with my wife when we were dating.
Oh, okay, I get it.
And so because I had played Catan and Carcassonne, but she introduced me to Ticket to Ride and a few other games when we were still dating. And so when we finally got married, as more map
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
collections,
whoa, whoa. Was she the gamer first?
we
The way
were
you said that, she
we
introduced
were
you to these.
she introduced me to Ticket to Ride. I was a gamer, but she was like a gamer longer, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So she was in the hobby when we met. I don't know that I would say I was in the hobby, right? I mean, I had a foot in the hobby, but I wasn't in it. I was a gamer, but she had been gaming from high school and it just continued on. So yeah, she introduced me to Ticket to Ride. And it's like, okay, so now we got Catan, Carcassonne, and Ticket to Ride in our collection. And then River Dragons and a couple other games come out. But we started collecting the maps and we kept playing them. And it got to a point where, the boxes, they're this tall. Her father, out of wood, built us this beautiful box with, do you remember the card catalog in libraries? Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Okay. There are
yeah.
going to be some of you listening who don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So when you went to a library, you had to pull these wooden drawers with these little index cards that would tell you where the book was on the shelf. And so he made those so that we could sort all the pieces and all the cards and a spot for all the rule books. And it had a big handle. Of course, it's made of wood, so it's heavy, but it was
That's
incredible.
incredible.
And since he's made other things for us in our gaming hobby, that he's made for us, including our game table topper. He made a game table topper for us for our basement.
Amazing.
But yeah, so it's like, it's fun collect anymore. The last map we got was Poland. I think we got Poland because of Goja. It helped connect me to
Oh,
friends in Poland by having the Polish map. Like, I don't know.
I love that.
But everything you said about the game itself is 100% true. It is monotonous. It's just draw cards, draw cards, draw cards. Oh, I got my cards. Play the trains. Yes, but
Yeah.
there's some emotional connection as well. So yeah, I understand it here, but I love it here. You
I
know,
love that. And some games are
right?
like that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm still a Catan girly. Like, I'm
yeah.
never not gonna be. I've been playing that game for like 20 years. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just gonna go away. Like, there's other things that I probably want to play more now, but if
Right.
you have 40 minutes and you don't want to think or
Yeah.
learn something new and you still want to get that kind of like, you
Right.
get the whole package in that game. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I know some
Yes.
people don't love it, but for me, it's gonna scratch the itch if I just need
I
one game
I get
quickly.
it. I get it.
Yeah,
We used to keep Catan. Catan was permanently set up when I was an undergrad at LSU. My roommates, we had Catan set up on the dining room table all the time.
same
So
seas
I
basically.
would get out of class, get off of a late night shift at the hotel, whatever. I would come home and either my roommates were already in the middle of a Catan game or they were waiting for me and we were going to play.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I'd play with my roommates, and when I had to work I went to school and I worked at a
Hmm.
bar like every spare minute that I
Yeah.
had time to. If I was working a slow day shift at the pub, they would bring Catan to the pub and play at the pub so that I would have some entertainment.
I mean, you know, that's what got us into the game. And so there's value. There's an intrinsic value to these games because they trigger a memory. And you got to respect that. So yeah.
You asked me if like my brother had any other favorite games, but
Yes.
I was actually thinking of showing him some things he hasn't played before. They're not new, but one game that I thought was a bit on the right track was Battle Sheep. I
Oh,
don't know if you've played Battle Sheep before.
I have not played Flock to Greener Pastures. I
Yeah,
don't know
so
this.
this is a super simple game. I'll actually just show you really quickly because it's easier to explain. You just put these kind of together in any shapes you want to
Okay.
make one big pasture, and then you each your color get like this stack. It's bigger than this, but like this is the white sheep. There's white, black, blue, and red, I think. And you put it at the edge of the field, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
puts their pile at the edge of the field. And on your turn, you have to move part of your stack entirely across the board in one of the like hexagon directions.
Okay.
But you have to leave at least one behind and move at least one. So you can take half your stack, you can do whatever you want, but it starts blocking the board, and the game ends when there's no moves left, and whoever has the most like spots where sheep are wins. So it's really simple and quick, and it gets really messy, and it feels really good. These are like quite thick.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and they just kind of hop over. I think it's on BGA if ever you want to play a
Okay.
quick one and see how it feels. I didn't
Sure.
love it on BGA though. It didn't have that tactile quick experience. It
Yeah.
kind of was a bit finicky for this
Right.
game. But sheep are pretty Easter themed, right? Little lambs. Uh,
Absolutely. Right.
yeah, and super easy, super quick. There's not really a teach involved at all. That was the whole game. It's been around for quite a while now. Like I want to
Hmm.
say at least 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
that's one.
cool and very
Yeah,
appropriate. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. See, but you have another one you want to show him, right?
There's there's another one I don't know. This is more like if we have a few people over, and this is more for kids, but it's actually really fun to have like a chaotic moment. Do you
Okay.
know Piles? Have you heard of Piles?
Piles. I've heard of Piles, but I've not played it. I've not seen it in person, but
Yeah, so it's really interesting. It's by Lost Boy Entertainment. They also make Plunder. I'm going to do another shameless shout out because they're the first company that ever let me do something with them on my Instagram.
very cool.
So there's a spot in my heart there. But there's four. Blah, 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 I stopped being able to speak there for a second. There are four cards face up in the middle of the table, and they're like
Okay.
different pieces of clothing. Well, this is matching because we probably just played, but they're different pieces of clothing. And you have six piles in front of you. So you have six stacks of four cards in front of you face down, and you can only look at one at a time. And you're trying to make piles that have four of the same piece of clothing in it, and you're all playing at the same time. So you're just kind of like, oh, there's a skirt on the table, and I have two skirts. I'm going to chuck out whatever card and take the skirt. But you're all like grabbing and trying to fill your cards, but you can only look at one of your own six stacks one at a time.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're like, oh my gosh, which pile had the skirt? Someone just threw a skirt, and you're just like, oh, the skirt, and you're just like throwing things back and forth and trying to be the first person. And once you finish a pile, you can flip it face up. You're just trying to finish all six piles. So very fun for like younger families
Yeah.
and just a little bit of a mess. And the reason
I
I think this is kind of the oh yeah, what were you gonna say?
I got yes, I was like, so you're talking about the clothes, and I'm thinking about so this is what it was like before we started recording. I just picture you. You're like, I gotta get because okay. So for those of you who are watching, you're still with us at this point. We were like, we're gonna wear Easter colored outfits on the show, right? So we got our pinks and blues and whatnot. Although I'm all washed out, but it's okay. And I just imagine you like going through the closet looking for that one shirt, trying to find it.
It's like you watched me do it before because that's exactly what it is. And then like I make these doom piles of clothing that
Mm-hmm.
I thrust off the hangers that I
Yep.
don't feel like dealing with, and I'm like, no. But that's exactly what it looks like,
But we shouldn't give away all your secrets because you're put together so well, right? You've got the
right?
matching necklace and everything. Just you got you. It's as if you planned this.
You know, like what this whole thing.
Exactly. No, I get it. I get it. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about Easter, your traditions, gaming. I really love the story of Gifted Tulips. That's incredible. Thank you so much for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Social media, if they want to reach out to you, ask you more questions about some of the games you talked about.
Yeah, so primarily on Instagram, which is the treasure bell, but there's some underscores in there, screwing it all up for you. So it's the underscore treasure underscore bell. That's bell with an E at the end. I do have a YouTube, but I need a hot minute to do some new filming. I've been really busy with work. I do work in the board game industry, and things are a little bit all over the place at the moment, and everything's good and great and wonderful for the most part where I'm working. But it's just there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of conventions and
Yep.
all that stuff. So I'm very, very
Yep.
busy. I'm very, very grateful to be this busy, but primarily my Instagram. Sorry, I digressed so much there, but Instagram.
What about upcoming conventions? Are there any that you're gonna be at where people could find you?
So I am aiming and almost 100% chance, but it's never 100% chance, right? I haven't booked my ticket or anything yet, but I'm aiming to be at PAX East
Okay.
just for fun. So I have never done a
Oh,
con just for fun, aside from
okay.
like a very small one here in Montreal. But I have a lot of friends in the gaming industry down in Massachusetts. It's an easy drive for the most part, and I just want to go and hang out and see my friends and play some games. And that's coming up in May. It's near my birthday too, so it's a good excuse to just get down there and hang out.
That's awesome. Do me a favor. So one of my guests just a week ago, Ahmad from Perth, Australia, designed a game called Usoli, and it is a card game. So this strategic card game set around the Salah, the five daily prayers of Islamic faith. He said that it's been picked up at PAX East,
Oh,
that
wow.
there would be the games won't be for sale, but I guess you can demo it. I'm trying to remember what he said. It's been a
Is
little
it
bit
his
since
own booth, or is he like
it's not
participating in like an unpub or something like
it's
this?
not his booth. The game has been on Kickstarter. It's been
Unpub.
fulfilled. It's been funded, everything. It's already been distributed, but it's going to be featured. So like I think it will be available in a collection. If I would recommend you listen to episode 118, where he was my guest co-host and he talked about it. And he talked about PAX East. Check that one out before you go, so you can at least go check out the game, because it
Awesome.
sounded really cool. That
Very
sounded cool.
cool.
Will you be at Origins this year?
I have no plans to go to
Okay.
Origins. I
Origins
would.
Origins has a special place in my heart because it's where I first met you.
I know. Okay, all the whole time we've been on the phone on this call here,
Yep.
I have been thinking about how we ate Polish food. Was it Polish food? Wasn't it? The
We did.
pierogies. Yeah, and
We
we've been
ate
talking about
pierogies.
Poland and we've been talking about food and we've been talking about. I'm like, I don't want to just blurt out without context about how we ate the Polish food and got to finally meet in person and bond. But it's been
Yep.
on my mind this whole hour. Yeah, I was
Yep.
such a hog that day. It was so good.
It was great. That was a great time. I'm really glad I had that experience. And met some really good people. I finally got to meet Danielle Reynolds and
I was,
nurture nurture a
yeah.
beginning friendship. I mean, we don't hang out or anything, but I feel like we can be friends, and I can call her my friend. I think if she's listening,
Danielle
she'll be like, no,
is,
you can't do that.
I love Danielle. For
She's
those of you who
wonderful.
know me, like I did my code names live with Danielle
Yep,
both times. She's
you
one of my
did.
friends in Massachusetts that I'm definitely going to hang out with at PAX East.
Excellent.
She helped design this game right here,
Her
and she
story,
is a lovely human being.
beautiful
So
woman,
definitely,
wonderful, wonderful
yes,
personality. Great,
absolutely,
great advocate for the community. I mean, when I think about community, I think about Danielle in so many ways, right?
absolutely.
Yep. So,
I owe a lot of my experience in the board game industry to her, if I'm being honest. She just,
yeah,
put me under her wing and off I went. So
there you go.
thank you,
Yeah.
Danielle.
Thank you, Danielle. So, guys, thank you so much for listening and putting up with all the shenanigans towards the end here. Once again, please make sure to smash the subscribe button, like it. It's somewheres. It's probably down there. Like it, subscribe, comments. I need comments, guys. I've been doing this. I've been on my own now for like 18 episodes.
Whoa.
And that's 18 weeks. I've been doing this on my own with generous community who's welcome to come on the show and guest co-host with me.
18 weeks already. Feels like
Yeah,
it was
it's
yesterday where you were like, I need to do this alone.
I know, I know.
What?
Yeah, there's a part of me that misses Gareth dearly. Just can't wait for him to come back
What about the
eventually.
other part?
The other part we don't talk about. No, Gareth, I love you, Gareth. I can't wait for you to come back. No. But yeah, so it's just been a while, and I'm ready to see what the next year holds. There's a lot going on. So make sure to like, subscribe. I need your comments. I need this.
Let
We
us
gotta,
know what
yeah.
you would play for
Yes.
Easter. I want to know. Clearly I
Yes.
need new things in my repertoire. So
You do. You absolutely do.
I
Because we need to
do.
get you more yellow Kallax shells.
More Yellow Calyx and more games that my brother
Yep.
won't be upset about.
Exactly. Please give your love to your brother and your friends over the Easter weekend. I hope that we're able to get together in New Orleans or something for I want to be a part of one of your Easter game weekends. That just seems incredible and I love it. So, thank you so
Thank you.
much.